Shalom and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bashim Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that were well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. This is part 3. I'm going to be dealing with the covenants, man. The covenants with the S, which is plural, is pertaining to the nation of Israel, as Apostle Paul is going to say. Romans 9, verse 3. If I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh. Christ was referring to the Messiah, who is Yahushai. Verse 4, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, dealt with that one, the adoptions of sons, and the glory, dealt with that one, Isaiah, Israel, Zion. Israel is the glory of the Lord. We are his beauty. And this one we deal with is covenants, right? And the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises. I deal with that one, those ones later. So this one is the covenants. Who are the covenants for? Is the covenants for all people of the world, or is it just the Israelites? It's the Israelites. Exodus 24 verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled it on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord have said we will do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold the blood of the covenant, which the Lord have made with you concerning all these words. And who is the you? The nation of Israel, the children of Israel. Yeah, that's who the pact is for, the agreement or the covenant is for, the Israelites. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. All right, you can read the rest. Another one. People complain, New Testament, read the New Testament, this is all one. The New Testament will come when the Lord comes back, when we get the new bodies, when we get beamed up, when Esau's kingdom is destroyed. That's when the new covenant will be in effect. But regardless, the covenant is for the Israelites. Hebrews 8 verse 10. For this is the covenant, keyword covenant, that I will make with the house of Israel after those days. Not with the house of everybody, not with the house of the human race or mankind or of any other heathen. No, with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. What do you mean those days? The end times. And keep in mind, this is after the Lord went on the cross. This is after the Lord ascended into heaven. You see? And is still pertaining to the nation of Israel. Saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind. I will write them in their hearts, and I'll be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. That's like what I read earlier in the book of Hosea, which was concerning the nation of Israel once again. So the Lord wants to put the laws in our minds, our hearts. Meaning what? We're going to be completely programmed to perfection to execute the laws in righteousness. Right? Verse 11, and they shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. So every rank of Israelite in the kingdom is going to know the Lord and do accordingly and execute the laws, statutes, and judgments in perfection, where we're not going to have to question each other. We're not going to have to judge each other. We're not going to sin. We're not going to make mistakes. We're not going to forget. We are going to be perfectly programmed, like perfect, righteous robots. But the heathen, they're going to sin. The other nations are going to sin. They're going to be whipped. They're going to be rebuked. They're going to serve slavery. They're going to be judged. Right? When you read the book of Isaiah chapter 2, which is also concerning the end times, when Israel will reign on the earth. So we're going to be perfect. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness. Not everybody, the Israelites. And their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. In that he saith a new covenant. He have made the first old, now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. Yeah, because we didn't complete the laws. We didn't do the laws in perfections, you know. Even in the time, as I read before, Exodus 24, the sprinkling of the blood, you know, we claimed with our mouths that we would do them, but guess what? We kept failing time and time again. So let me read this part, Hebrews 8, verse 8. For finding fault with them, who is the them? The laws? No. Finding fault with the people, the children of Israel. We kept fucking up. We kept messing around. We kept sinning. You know? We kept disregarding the laws and our power. He saith, behold, the days come, end times, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, you know, the Israelites, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. He's even getting more specific. The Lord delivered the nation of Israel out of Egypt because they continued not in my covenant, kept sinning, kept breaking the laws, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. Then you can carry on reading. Right? You can read the whole chapter, it's beautiful. But there you go. The covenants with the S, plural, are for the nation of Israel. Who are the Israelites? To pertain of adoption, dealt with that, and the glory, dealt with that, and the covenants, which I just dealt with. Next one, and the giving of the law, which is quite easy. With that, all praise to Yahweh, Shem Shai, B'Shem Kakadash, Shalom.